Right, everyone, welcome along to another F1 watch along. And this time we're part of Motorsport Race Centre Live. How cool is this? Hopefully, you can see whether you're on YouTube or you're on the actual experience on motorsport.com. There's a pinned link. You can see the standings. We're going to have a crazy show today. We're going to have people coming on the show live. I'm going to be speaking to them, asking your questions. There are some prizes to be given away as well, part of some quizzes you can take part of, and obviously we're going to be following the Monaco qualifying as well. This is a kind of evolving platform. You might remember I did this in Las Vegas last year as well. So there's been some improvements, but the guys at Motorsport, they want your feedback as well. So at any point you got any feedback, pop them in the chats. And yeah, hopefully we're looking forward to Monaco qualifying. We all know, right, that Monaco qualifying is often where the race is decided. To such an extent, they've had to mandate 2 pit stops for the race tomorrow, which is pretty much unheard of. It was Charles Leclerc on pole position last year, the Monegasque driver doing it for Ferrari, and then winning the race. So we'll see, because Ferrari have been struggling recently. My pick, I'm going to let you know already, is Oscar Piastri. I just think he's going to get a pole position here, but already let us know in the chat. He thinks he's going to win. And I've got a producer, CJ, who's literally in my head, in my ears, and he's like a pro at this, and he's going to be helping guide me around and all of the cool stuff, because we've got videos are going to come up, track maps are going to come up, all this cool stuff. So I'm kind of new at this, so you know how we roll. We're going to have a fun time here, and hopefully have a very good qualifying session. Welcome everyone in the chat. I can see already in both chats I have everyone up. Blacker, Lauren Jones, V-Neck. Norbeck's been to Monaco 2 weeks ago. I was in Monaco 2 weeks ago. Were you there for the Formula E as well? Watching Stoffel Van Dorn take victory one day, and then Oliver Rowland the other day as well. One race was a wet race and one was a dry race, which was quite cool as well. So yeah, it's a qualifying watch along. You can already see we've got driver standings up there from the season so far. So that's constructs at the moment. McLaren 279 points. McD sounds like McDonald's, but it's not. It's Mercedes on 147, and the driver standings as well. Insane how Max Verstappen is in P3 considering the Red Bull. Didn't seem that quick at the beginning of the season, although with the upgrades, maybe getting quicker as well. So what I want to do is jump straight into the quizzes and the prize, which is on screen right now. So you can win. This is insane because it's already, I think it's next Tuesday, it's taking place. You can win 2 tickets to the F1 Academy, F1 The Academy premiere, 5 pairs available. You have to be in the UK to participate in this. It's a UK premiere. And there's going to be some quizzes that are going to come on screen during this watch along that I believe you need to be in the motorsport.com environment to take part in. So if you want to do that, make sure you jump in there. There's a Discord chat where I can also see you. And the quizzes are going to come up, and you have to be fairly quick at answering them. It's not like one of these, like, oh, I'll answer it in your own time and we'll come back at the end. Like, it's going to be interactive. So, and I haven't seen the questions. So, yeah, hopefully they're going to be good questions. Yeah, 2 before qualifying starts. And Marie Hudson says, posh watch along. Yeah, it's the posh one. VNet's got a prediction in saying first Max, second Ferrari, third Ferrari for the race. I was thinking maybe, high downforce circuit, maybe Ferrari could spring something here, and then they could just run a 0 wing for Monza or something. Lewis Hamilton hasn't been the best season for him. He did have that sprint victory in China, but people forget that Lewis Hamilton won 2 races last season. By the way, I'm streaming from the Netherlands, about an hour away from Amsterdam, in SimLab, which are an insane sim racing company, and they make many products, but including this. This is the official Mercedes-AMG Petronas F1 steering wheel that works on a sim. And you can see a few SimLab sims behind me as well. So if you've got any questions about the wheel, let me know, because I took this with me to Monaco 2 weeks ago and actually asked the drivers what they thought of it. And they like it, especially the fact there's actually a WhatsApp button here, you can see. So you can WhatsApp in. But yeah, good to see everyone in the chat again. Let us know what you think of the experience. And we've got lots of cool graphics and things that are going to come up as well. Let me let you know let me let you know about the stats from last year. So Charles Leclerc got pole last year. It was a 1 minute 10.270. So we'll see if we can go faster than 1 minute 10 for pole this year. And actually, Oscar Piastri got P2 last year in the McLaren, but it was first for Charles Leclerc, second Oscar Piastri, and Carlos Sainz, when he was a Ferrari driver, got third. So it was pretty good for Ferrari last year. Pretty much as good as you can get. And we'll see how that's going to work out for them this year. Is the screen customizable? Yes, CJ, the producer, can customize things. So we're going to do our usual nations check, where in the world. We're going to do stat attacks, stuff like that as well. So I'm quite excited. And qualifying, as you can see, starts in 24 minutes. Digiboom saying it's a bit shameful if Piastri would take the crown. Norris deserves it more at this point. What? Not sure I agree with that. I think Piastri's been super impressive, considering he's not as experienced in F1 as Lando is. I feel like Lando should probably be dominating him. Hasn't happened so far. Right, so I was in Monaco 2 weeks ago and I walked the track and it's just like you see on TV. And what we're going to do now is we're going to show you the track. So CJ's going to pull up a track map, the layout. So if we can do that, CJ, if it's possible to get it up.
Monaco needs no introduction, but we'll give it one anyway. Considered F1's jewel in the crown and the shortest track on the calendar, fortune favours the brave at the 3.337km course on the French Riviera. Let's take a look at the world-famous street circuit. First up is the run to Turn 1, Saint-Devote. Don't gamble on your braking or you'll likely end up in the wall. Then we go uphill on the run towards Turn 3, Massenet, one of the faster corners here. Keep to the outside to try your luck at Casino Square, hit the apex and avoid the bump before Mirabeau, Turn 5. Bet on hooking the wheel up on the curb, stay to the outside and go full lock for the Grand Hotel hairpin. Take out the steering and bear right for Turn 7, then put a little more lock in for Portier. Then it's through the tunnel, take the shortest route and prepare to briefly go blind as you exit. Brake for the Nouvelle chicane and go all in to make the corner. Once you've ridden the curbs, we're into the final sector. Carry the speed through to back, Turn 12, and double down through the quick left-right for the first part of the swimming pool complex. A playing card should separate the car and the inside wall at Turn 15, then hold your nerve through 16 to prepare for the Rascasse. Full lock once again, then get on the power and open up the route through Anthony Nogues. Get the DRS on, and your payout is a lap of the Monte Carlo circuit.
How awesome is that? Whole track map 3D of the Monaco circuit. And I completely agree with them. Like, you are literally brushing the barriers. We'll see in qualifying, drivers touching the barriers, especially the last corner, Anthony Nogues. The best laps, you are literally bouncing off that. The swimming pool chicane as well is insane. I thoroughly recommend, if you can get down to Monaco at any time, maybe you're down in Nice, take the train or something, to see the circuit. It's just unreal. I think it is a really good circuit. I think if we're really honest about it, the F1 cars are just a bit too big for the racing at the moment, which is why qualifying is so important. But we've seen in other championships like Formula E, where they're going 2-3 wide. It's a phenomenal circuit. So you see Crazy A's got that opinion in the chat. To be honest, I never enjoy this race. I think this is one you only win with pit stops, to my view. So we'll see tomorrow if that changes with the 2 pit stops. But in any event, qualifying is going to be, they're going to be giving them all. And we saw a couple of years ago, Charles Leclerc, if I remember, put it on pole position, but then actually damaged his gearbox and he had to take the grid penalty, and they're really risking everything in qualifying, which is awesome. What's the odds of Franz Hermann running Nürburgring 2014? Well, he's got his GT3 team, so I think we'll see Franz Hermann maybe being the first 4-time world champion to also win an endless race, something like that as well. And yeah, qualifying everything here, like George Russell said. So these final runs in Q3 are going to be really something to talk about. We have some more stuff we're able to bring up upcoming on other parts of the corners as well. But this weekend is massive for racing. We have, for example, Indy. We have MotoGP in Silverstone. We have the Coke 600 in America as well. And we're actually going to bring some people on the stream who can talk to us about that. In fact, here's a global map. Look at this. From Monaco to the British GP at Silverstone. And then we're going to go over to... Yeah, so what we're going to do now is we're going to hear from Lolita Chamello, who's going to tell us a little bit about what's going on in the States, which is pretty cool.
Good morning here from a chilly Indianapolis Motor Speedway. I've got the pagoda behind me, the sun rising. It's a beautiful scene if you've never been. So, top stories we're looking at this weekend here in the US. Here in Indianapolis so far, all eyes are on Team Penske, and not really for great reasons. The number 2 and number 12 Team Penske cars of Joseph Newgarden and Will Power were penalized and sent to the back of the grid following the discovery of a modification to the rear attenuator. In response, Team Penske fired 3 executives, including Tim Cindric, who was also Newgarden's chief race strategist. Moving on to Charlotte, where we have the Coca-Cola 600 with NASCAR Cup racing this weekend. You've got William Byron, the back-to-back recent Daytona 500, just signed a 4-year contract extension with Hendrick Motorsports. And you also have 7-time NASCAR Cup Series champion Jimmy Johnson will be making his 700th start this weekend. Friday, he also squashed rumors saying it's not going to be his final race. He plans to do more in the future, and knowing Jimmy, that's pretty likely. All right, guys, thank you so much. Have fun in Monaco.
How cool is that? I mean, that is absolutely insane to get this kind of input on the stream. We've never had that before. Direct from Indy. Jimmy Johnson, 700 races. That's insane. I mean, there's football players don't have 700 appearances. MotoGP at Silverstone. I have been and seen the MotoGP at Silverstone. I think it is a really great vibe. I'm not sure who's winning MotoGP at the moment this season, but we'll take a look at the standings. But I've been there before and seen Marquez and Rossi. Then the Coke 600 for the NASCAR fans. I've never, ever seen a NASCAR race in person, but I totally want to go. I have one in sim racing at Charlotte in the sim racing events, but I just want to be by the fencing and see them all come round. But the one I know the best is the Monaco Grand Prix. Back in the day, the Triple Crown was more of a thing. Monaco GP, Le Mans 24 Hours, and Indy 500. Is it Graham Hill maybe has done them? Jack Villeneuve has got close. Fernando Alonso's got close as well. In fact, let me know in the chat how the Triple Crown is. Who's winning the standings for the Triple Crown? Is there anyone today who could possibly do the Triple Crown as well? I think they should include Formula E in there as well. Because then Sebastian Buemi, he's a 4-time Le Mans winner and he's won in Formula E. He just needs to go over and do the Indy 500. Much easier said than done. Yeah, it's an absolute, if you're a motorsport fan, 2 wheels or 4 wheels, it is genuinely one of the biggest weekends. I remember being in Monaco a few years ago, watching the race, the F1 race, and then going straight to a bar and watching the Indy 500. And it's incredible. What they do at Indy on the super speedway in those open wheel cars is genuinely insane. I think they don't do that many speedway races these days in IndyCar because it is obviously super dangerous. So Indy's a big one. To see them do that is just insane. I remember last year, if I remember, there were all the cautions and restarts at the end of the race, and it's always very dramatic. So it's going to be super entertaining. Neil says McDonald's in second place. I think it's Mercedes, not McDonald's. Although McDonald's do sponsor cars in America, so maybe in Indy someone's running a McDonald's livery. Katsu says, Kireth, you have to go to Indy race and do your show from there. Well, I'd love to with the motorsport guys and girls. That would be insane. As a kind of a European going over there, I'm sure it'll be. The cars look incredible, I think, with the aero screen, and I think they look really beautiful. So it's a nice foil for Formula One to still have the. So coming up, hopefully, we are going to speak to someone. No promises, but hopefully, we're going to speak to someone actually at Stone. In fact, might be coming up very soon, but I'll let you know if it is. Neil says I'm kind of soft. What, in my voice? The motorsport people can listen to that. But we are just, in fact, I don't know exactly how, 15 minutes away from the start of qualifying in Monaco. It looks picture perfect, absolutely incredible. I mean, I do prefer it when it's raining, to be honest. And I can see people on the hill, which is great. So if you want to go to Monaco for cheap, I mean, to be honest, I've done it and just literally sneaked in, but I would not recommend that. You can buy a ticket and sit on the hill. They're the cheapest tickets, and you get a great vantage of all of Monaco, which is incredible. We'll pop back to the track map, I'm sure, later when I can tell you about the corners to watch out for, where time can be gained, time can be lost. Welcome, Susie. Very exciting watching this format. Glad you're enjoying it. Cadre says, reason to be optimistic for Ferrari. Well, they did very well last year. Carlos Sainz in P3, Charles Leclerc in P1, uh, and Charles Leclerc on pole position. So, let's see what happens. Let's keep an eye and see if Ferrari are looking decent or not. Yeah, CJ's asking, do we want to see a track map? I want to look at a track map because I want to tell you about Monaco. So we're going to start, when you do the lap, you go into Saint Deval. And what's really interesting is, when I was there in Formula E, it was the final of qualifying, I do it weirdly, was between Oliver Rowland and Taylor Barnard, who's a sim racing rookie, which is super cool from my perspective. Anyway, Oliver Rowland knew that he needed to absolutely gamble it into first corner, otherwise he wasn't going to get pole position. So he gambled it and he hit the wall and he just aborted the lap, but he knew he needed to gain the time. There's a lot of time that can be gained there. I was speaking with Sebastian Buemi. Actually, Sebastian Buemi gave us a track visualization of Monaco using this wheel, which is super, super, super cool. And he was saying you want to ride the curb on the inside, but you don't want to ride the curve too much on the exit. I can see maybe Ben is going to be joining us soon. So I don't know, CJ will let me know if we want to segue over to Ben. Ben, you're at MotoGP in Silverstone. It's a great weekend for racing. What's the vibe down at Silverstone today?
We're the warm-up packed, aren't we, for a great weekend of motorsport. We have got loads going on here. It's a busy, busy one at Silverstone, which is really, really good to see. The sun shines out, a little bit of a threat of rain. But yeah, we've had some exciting times this morning. We've got Fabio Quartararo, who's on pole for the sprint race. He absolutely obliterated the track record, and what a fantastic sight it is to see those Yamaha boys back at the top and fighting for wins. It's exactly what we needed. It's kind of stopping the Ducati dominance, but we do have some Ducatis on the top three. We've got Alex Marquez in 2 and Francesco Bagnaia, who is third, lines up in third for the sprint race later on today. So yeah, it's all very exciting. Marc Marquez starts in 4th on the second row. So yeah, it's, all go here.
And who are the fans supporting Ben down at Silverstone? Obviously, who are the fans supporting? Marquez has got so many fans along the world, but who's got the big support in MotoGP from the British fans these days?
Do you know what? I think it's everyone's relieved to see Quartararo there. He's been in the mix. He's taken 3 poles in a row. He hasn't scored a win since Germany 2022. So when he pulled into Parc Fermé afterwards, there was a big cheer. I think that, if he were to convert this into a win, I think that would be a popular choice. We don't have any Brits actually at the moment in MotoGP, which is a huge shame. But he's not so far away in France, so we'll probably get behind him.
And any fans that are going there tomorrow, Ben, any activities they can look forward to, any appearances from drivers and whatnot?
I mean, there's plenty to look forward to. I mean, the fan zone is absolutely ramo. Lots going on there. The only thing I would say is probably bring a bit of a warm coat and maybe a waterproof and an umbrella, because you never know what the weather's going to do. But, it's staying dry for the moment. Not quite as sunny as Monaco. But, I'm also excited for Monaco as well. I'm looking forward to going in there and checking out qualifying in a sec and, catching up with that.
Yeah, you're the editor-in-chief at Motorsport, so you know everything about all the different motorsports that are going on today. At Monaco, I'm getting a lot of questions about Ferrari. Do you think Ferrari can put another pole position this year, or is it not looking too good for them?
No, absolutely. I mean, Charles Leclerc topped all the practice sessions. Lewis Hamilton pressing a little bit too much, maybe right late on in final practice. But, you can never rule out Lewis Hamilton around those streets. And Charles Leclerc, obviously, last year, such a big, important win for him to break that hoodoo. A big win. I think Ferrari need that lift. They need that result to lift mood, to actually bring the competition to life, because McLaren are having it all their own way at the moment. And while we're talking about McLaren, you can't write them off. And finally, of course, Max Verstappen, he'll be there, there or thereabouts. But, I was listening to your prediction earlier on. I'm going to go for a Ferrari pole. That's what I'm going to call.
There we go. Very romantic. And is that going to be Lewis Hamilton then, if you have to choose one of them?
I'd like to think so. Okay. I think Hamilton's due a little bit of luck. I caught up with him at the last race in Imola, and it's quite interesting watching his personality flip and flop after every weekend. And just when he thinks he's making progress, they take a step backwards. But he left Imola really happy. He was all smiles. So maybe he's going to take that motivation into Monaco and get that pole.
Yeah, we saw Lewis Hamilton arrive at the paddock on his motorbike, and he's done, some promo before with like Valentino Rossi swapping cars and bikes, and we know there are lots of F1 drivers who are big motorbike fans. I think people would love to see more of a crossover between MotoGP and Formula One as the pinnacles of these two different branches of motorsport. Is that something we can look forward to in the future, hopefully, or maybe a concurrent day or something like that?
Let's hope so. I mean, there's plenty of synergy, isn't there? Lewis Hamilton, you mentioned, is a fan. He's done track days before. There is a crossover. There's always a suggestion that he may invest his money into a MotoGP team. Excuse me about all that noise in the background as someone goes past with a trolley. But you never know. I mean, I think the biggest thing is the fact that Liberty Media are trying to complete this takeover with Dorna and work together. Liberty Media obviously own Formula One. Could that lead to a synergy between the two? I would love to see that.
The dream day, right, where we have MotoGP in the morning, Formula One, and then maybe something else. Thank you so much, Ben. Maybe we'll catch up with you later, but hopefully it's going to be a great qualifier today.
Cheers.
Thanks. Awesome. That was absolutely insane. That is the editor-in-chief at Motorsport, who's on the ground at Silverstone for the MotoGP, whilst I'm covering the Formula One in Monaco. And we've heard from the team over in Indy, it's like it's bringing it all together, which is pretty crazy. It's the first time I've kind of felt that connection between all these different motorsports, actually. And obviously, if you're a motorsport fan, you're probably following different forms of motorsport. So it's great to feel connected here. It's almost a celebration of our hobby here. In fact, I've just got a message here, chat. You're not going to believe it. Thank you so much for making this happen, because Motorsport have let me know right now they are going to send me to a NASCAR race, chat. Motorsport are going to send me to a NASCAR race. Details to come, but stay tuned. Chat, that is insane. You have to put all the claps and everything in the chat there for Motorsport for making that happen. I've just found out. I can't even believe it. What I want to know is, which NASCAR race do you think is the best one for me to go to that I'm going to enjoy the most? Because that is just absolutely unbelievable. In many ways, I feel like it's a bit of a antidote to Formula One in some ways, and seeing these raw NASCAR cars and the speed on the speedways would be absolutely insane. Look at all the claps coming in. That is insane. What a stream already this is. And there's still the great prizes to be given away. For example, the F1, the Academy Premiere. So we're going to go into the first quiz question already. This is non-stop. So if you are in the motorsport experience on the Discord, go to the pinned comment. Here's the first question. How many laps does a Monaco GP have? 70, 78, 75, or 80. I'm not going to give you a clue, but put your answer in before the bar goes across. Maybe you have to be UK only to be eligible to win one of the tickets to the F1, the Academy Premiere. And already, CJ's already putting up the second question. We're not messing around. How many times has a final Q3 run been red flagged in the last four Monaco GPs? I think last four Monaco qualifyings. Once, twice, 0, 3 times. That's a great question, because a lot of people have been asking whether that's going to happen today if you're on pole, and then mysteriously you mess up your last run and there's a red flag. So it is going to be, if you win these prizes, you are really going to deserve it, because they are proper questions. They're not kind of like softball questions. So I'm really happy that Motorsport are doing that. Make sure you join the Discord chat via the pinned link if you want to be able to actually answer those questions. Right, now we're going to do something that you're used to on my streams, which is a nations check, which we're calling Where in the World. People saying Daytona or Talladega. Talladega, oh my God. Daytona though as well. I'll have to practice that in the sim. Anyway, we're doing Where in the World nations check. Chat, let us know in the chat where in the world you're watching from. Is anyone watching from Monaco? Anyone watching from the USA? Watkins Glen, Talladega. Watkins Glen. I don't know if NASCAR do. Do they do like road at Watkins Glen? CJ telling me yes, which would be awesome. Okay, CJ's actually been there, so CJ's also recommending it. And I've driven Watkins Glen plenty of time in sim racing, as you know. Right, here we go, coming in now. So Vlatko, Croatia, Susie from the UK, Marie from the UK, Kate from the UK, Captain Howdy from the USA, and in Discord chat, Mel Sam Miami, LN4 Jack from Florida, guess you've got Lando Norris. Clickrock from the Netherlands. I'm in the Netherlands at the moment. It's completely awesome. I had a hot dog yesterday, which I really enjoyed. Milos from Slovenia. They don't do hot dogs in the UK, whereas Netherlands, we went to a gas station and they did a little hot dog in a packet, and it was just the best thing. Americans will be like, what? Hot dogs aren't special. But Christian from Tennessee, USA, Val from Philippines, Jez from Poland. Third place is from Indianapolis. Third place, are you at the Indy 500? Are you there at Indy? Let us know. Duncan says, are you from Talladega or recommending Talladega? Let us know. Hoglin, Australia, and Rick, New York, Christian, England. So good to see a whole mix of people around the world. So much racing this weekend. Qualifying is going to begin in less than 5 minutes. And it's going to go pretty quickly. We're going to go Q1, Q2, Q3. Let me know in the chat as always if you don't know how that works. Okay, and by the way, I'll explain how Q1, Q2, Q3 works, but just before we do that, I want to speak about Tsunoda's crash last weekend at Imola Motorsport. I've got some images here, which is obviously great, the images to it. I found it really interesting because I wonder if there's something to do with the ground effect cars in Formula One, the way he went over that curb and then accelerated off the left-hand side. It seemed a very unusual place to crash, say, in a GT car. And I wonder if the way that the floors are working in Formula One so aero-dependent, the way he attacked that curb, which is a curb that is used a lot in GT racing and cup cars, etc., for cars with loads of suspension, not as much ground effect. I wonder if these circuits aren't as well suited to Formula One cars these days. Hopefully we will see Imola back because it's a great circuit, but it was a massive crash for Tsunoda, and I think it was incredibly walked away. I think it's a real testament to the halo and the roll hoop and all of the safety, but definitely a scary one. Probably the maddest thing was they restarted qualifying in about 5 minutes, which is absolutely insane. So hopefully we won't see any big crashes like that today. We never want to see big crashes, but I wouldn't be surprised if people do hit the barrier. Let's put it like that. Kate says, how about this diamond legend? So there was a story 20 years ago in Monaco. You're not going to believe me, but it's true. CJ, do I have time to tell like a 30-second story? CJ's going to... Okay, so Monaco, 20 years ago, Jaguar, as part of a promotion, Jaguar in Formula One, they put a diamond in the front of their car in a nose cone. That's like promo movie. And basically in the race, one of the drivers crashed and the diamond disappeared. And no one's ever found out where this diamond went. So it's genuinely, there's lots of theories like a marshal, a bystander, maybe the driver took it, but it's a perfect heist in the way. That's a genuine thing. That's one of probably the crazy things that's happened at Monaco. San Miguel, Mexico as well in the chat. Welcome from Mexico. Right, so we have another prize to be won, but I believe it's going to be actually awarded to. It's going to be awarded today and tomorrow. CJ tells me. So let me get this absolutely correct. It's going to be awarded tomorrow, but by answering questions today and in the Watchalong tomorrow, you can win it. This is US entry only, even though it's in Silverstone. So all the people that said you're in the US, this is one for you. 2 tickets to Silverstone 2025 with a meet and greet as well with, I believe, the Red Flags podcast guys, who are awesome guys. So Motorsport are giving you 2 tickets to Silverstone, flights and hotel from the US, and a meet and greet. And you can see Lewis Hamilton win for Ferrari. So it's just going to be the perfect weekend. So there again, questions come up. If you're US, make sure you're ready to answer those questions because CJ's going to bang them up. And they're going to be proper questions as well. So they're going to go to real motorsport fans. But that is the second giveaway. So they're not messing around. They're giving away proper stuff here. Only 1.5 minutes to go to qualifying, by the way. So very close. Welcome, Martin Harpston. Third place, 500s tomorrow, best day in racing, Monaco GP, then Indy 500 and Coke 600 at night. Yeah, is anyone actually going to watch all 3 back-to-back? Because that should also be a triple crown. There needs to be a name for that. When is the qualifying starting in 1 minute, 22 seconds, which is about 12 seconds longer than it takes a Formula One car to do a lap at Monaco. So we are almost there, and CJ is going to be helping us out with the standings, etc. But I'll also be explaining it. Now, I did promise you I'd explain how qualifying works in Formula One. So there are 3 parts to qualifying. The first part is Q1. Basically, all 20 drivers will go around, and they will try and set the fastest lap time. And basically, the bottom 5 drivers will get knocked out. They will play no further part in qualifying. Then have a very quick break, and we'll go into Q2. In Q2, the top 15 drivers who are left will go around, and basically, at the end of that part of qualifying, the final top 10 drivers will go into Q3, which is the end of qualifying, the last bit, and that will be the top 10 shootout. So that will determine the grid places for the top 10. So it's going to be Q1, Q2, Q3. You'll hear me using those terms. Toxal says, who do you think will get pole? I think Oscar Piastri is going to get pole. But, Ben Hunt at Motorsport, the editor at Motorsport, said he thinks maybe Hamilton can get it. But yeah, CJ's put on screen. Let us know your predictions now. I'm just going to be transparent. I think it's going to be Oscar Piastri. I think it'd be incredible if Max Verstappen gets pole here. I think it will cement his kind of GOAT status because he seems to be dragging that car a little bit, and it is Monaco. I remember 2 years ago there was a great battle between Fernando Alonso and Max Verstappen here at Monaco. And Verstappen just pulled out of the bag. So let me know in the chat who you think is going to get pole position. Goncalo says Leclerc. Maybe. I mean, he was on pole position last year. That would also be incredible. And a real maybe turn for Ferrari this season, actually, given they've dropped off from the high of the Shanghai sprint victory. Nevan saying Leclerc pole all the way. Robert, Max could come out of this. Yeah, let me know, actually. I'm really interested. No one's saying Lando Norris. No one's saying George Russell. You can see the weather on screen. It does say scattered showers. I don't know if we're able to get some info on whether that scattered showers might be during qualifying or not. I think from what I can see, it looks like blue skies. So the weather looks not rainy right now. In fact, all the cars are already in the pit lane, ready to go. They're not messing around because you can have a lot of traffic at Monaco and they don't want to get caught up in traffic. So we are basically going to be underway very soon. In fact, the cars are now leaving the pit lane. So we are officially underway at Monaco. Marie saying Max, Christian, Kimi or Oscar? Kimi Antonelli on pole would be extremely impressive. I can't remember what he did in F2. I think I was with Zay Manoni a couple of weeks ago in Monaco. He won in Freca. I think Taylor Barnard might have won in F2, actually. And he put it on pole position in Formula E. So maybe Taylor Barnard was the F2 driver who nailed it last year, but not sure how Kimi did or any of our other rookies like Ollie Behrman and Isaac Hadjar. But by the way, everyone I speak to in motorsport really rates Isaac Hadjar. Like they are. And I think that makes it even more surprising how Red Bull kind of seemed to publicly at least treat him after what happened in Australia, the first race of the season, where he crashed off, I think, in the formation lap even. And Rick says Ricky Bobby. Ricky Bobby might be in the Coke 600. I don't think he's in the Monaco race. But the qualifying laps are about to start. I will guide you through it, and I think CJ might be updating things as we go in terms of the positions. Robert needs bigger buttons on your phone. We all do. I say bring back phones with buttons. Like, have you tried typing these days without autocorrect to see what you're typing? It's just absolutely horrendous. Third place, let's go Leclerc. Chris Moyle says Albon for pole. That honestly, Carlos Sainz or Alex Albon, it's a high doubt. You know, let's have a look what can happen here. And in fact, it is Albon and Sainz who I think are going to be leading us out in terms of finishing the laps first. They're both going around the Fairmont Hotel hairpin. I think the Lowe's hairpin, I think it's called, where you can go and do some car spotting. And then they go into the tunnel, where I've been told there might be some nice posters for... Oh, there's a big F1 the movie poster in the tunnel. I'm not sure that's a real poster or a digital poster, but either way, it's very cool. And if you want to get the taste of that premiere, I think there's going to be some more quiz questions later, where if you get them all right, I imagine you're going to be in the hunt to potentially win those F1 The Academy tickets for the premiere this Tuesday if you're in the UK. That's in London. I might be there as well, so you might see me as well. Whether that's a pro or con, I don't know. You let me know. Ang saying Williams for the win. Yeah, I'm seeing more and more Williams fans these days. Jack in the Discord chat saying Leclerc. Okay. Alex Albon did set the first time, but they're all coming in now. They're all going over the line. So Carlos Sainz went faster. They're not setting super quick lap times at the moment. 1 minute 14s, 1 minute 15s. So I think they might actually sort of be doing almost just kind of burning runs in a way. I mean, Ollie Behrman is provisionally fast at the moment on 1 minute 14. In fact, yeah, CJ's got it on screens from CJ, and you can see some drivers even going on the medium tyre, which is something we saw at Imola, actually. In fact, let me let you know what compounds we're using here, because CJ also prepared that for me. We do have the soft is the C6, which is the softest compound. So in some ways, that's almost like an ultra soft back in the day. So maybe some people will want to go on the mediums, not the softs. We did see that in Imola, which I thought was quite surprising. Tabby, why are you not showing everything like you do? This is a different stream here with all the support of Motorsport. We have an actual producer, CJ. We have the standings here, so it's a little bit different, but we have more stuff coming in as well that we can bring in and the prizes. So that's why it's a little bit different this time around. In the F1 movie, does Brad Pitt? That's a terrible joke. You should be timed out for that, Nevin. That's the worst joke I've heard all day. Half Gazo, thank you for the extra Monaco content. Lots more coming on my channel, by the way, behind the scenes at Monaco. And if we do the thing with motorsport, we go to NASCAR, I will be shooting so much content there because I'm just like, that is a bucket list thing for me. So let's get back to the qualifying. Charles Leclerc stop the clock, is provisionally fastest, 1 minute 13 dead. So 3 seconds slower than pole last year, but he is provisionally fastest right now. 1/100th of a second faster. Sorry, 1/10 of a second faster than Alex Albon. So Charles Leclerc at the moment is provisionally fastest. And you can see his career stats. 26 pole positions. I mean, people say Charles Leclerc is probably the best qualifier in Formula One. And certainly that's something Lewis Hamilton has found difficult to deal with. I would say, by the way, if Lewis Hamilton is a 10th or 2 off Charles Leclerc in qualifying, I'd still take Lewis Hamilton for all the experience he brings in the race, etc., even if he was that slow off objectively. That said, though, and I want to echo what Lewis Hamilton said in an interview recently, the guy's still got 104 pole positions. Like, people are very easy to write off Lewis Hamilton. 104 poles, 105 wins. He's got a century of wins. 7-time world champion. Incredible season in 2021. Do we still have the Lewis Hamilton fans in the chat? Let us know if you're supporting Lewis Hamilton. Or let us know if you're a Mercedes fan and now you've gone over to supporting George Russell or Kimi Antonelli. Thanks, third place. Yeah, please do smash those likes. But I'm very, very glad you're enjoying it. And here's Oscar Piastri. Only 53 starts, but already 6 wins. I think 4 of them coming this season, but don't quote me on that. But Oscar Piastri is... I was so impressed with him last season. Like, last season, I was really rating him. Jack saying more wins than poles too for Hamilton. Great spot. So Hamilton is... I don't think that stat would be the same for Sebastian Vettel, for example, but I might be wrong. Kate says, thanks, motorsport.com, for awesome maps and live journalist content. Yeah. Lance Stroll is now provisionally fastest, but like I said, it's Q1, so 12 minutes to go. Nothing matters too much till the end of Q1. Like, they'll all be going around. Lando Norris has just gone provisionally fastest, but Oscar Piastri is going to go over the line as well as I see it, and he's gone now provisionally fastest. So CJ's got it on screen there. You can see it is actually a 1 minute 12.4 for Piastri, and now Charles Leclerc is provisionally 11th, but provisionally 12th. Don't read too much into it because I think they were all going around kind of just lapping, which is interesting actually. We don't always see this at Monaco. We certainly don't see it at other circuits either. Richard, drivers will do what they need to do in the cockpit. You're not going to come in for a toilet break. Let me put it like that. In fact, George Russell did an interview today where he's saying he doesn't drive with underwear on, which I thought was not something I'd known before, but that's how he rolls. Don't know if that's how he rolls, but very valid question. Keep those questions coming, and we'll try to answer them. And you can see Verstappen hasn't set a time yet. So Verstappen hasn't set a time yet. It's doing a different strategy. So Verstappen hasn't set a time yet. So he's delaying it. He's not taking too much out of the tyres. What's Charles's time? A 1 minute 12 dead. Remember, he got a 1 minute 10, low 1 minute 10 for pole position last year. So there's still a bit of time in the cars available. Max Verstappen now goes fastest, though. Just seeing as he went by Anthony Nogues. Still quite a bit of margin. So he wasn't really playing. You've got to think at Monaco. Imagine how much time there is to gain if you brush the barriers versus if you don't. So at the moment, the drivers will be kind of like taking it a little bit easy, want to get some banker laps in. Patrick Dempsey's in town. He was a GT3 driver. I've seen him race GT3s, and I think he might have owned a team as well. So Patrick Dempsey is mainly an actor, but also a racing driver, which we've seen a few times now. And CJ tells me he's Dr. McDreamy on Grey's Anatomy. So CJ tells me he's never watched Grey's Anatomy. Well, to me, it seems like CJ's watched a lot of Grey's Anatomy. Yeah. So we don't have the sector splits here, but I'll give you the times as they go over, and you can see the tyre choices as well, like Colapinto on the medium. And yes, welcome everyone who's new as well. How much time left for Q1? Roughly about 9 minutes to go. So roughly about 9 minutes. And they're not doing the usual thing where they're doing a lap, boxing, chilling, and going out. They were all queuing up, ready to go, maybe anticipating a red flag. So they want to be constantly setting laps. And Verstappen is now fastest with a 1 minute 11.9. I say that he's just been overtaken. The CJ's got up there by Lando Norris, who's done a 1 minute 11.5. And for me, the time to gain here, for example, is turn 19, Anthony Nogue. So just after Raskas, if you can really get on the power there straight and drift the car out and just graze the barrier, basically, exactly. Look, CJ seemed Anthony knows if you can just straight line that exit and let the car drift and maybe take off a bit of the advertising kind of plastic they have on there, you're going to gain a lot down the straight because that is one of the major straights. Another place if we can go to, CJ, would be Tabac. So if we can go to Tabac, which is just after the swimming pool chicane, so that's turn 12. Tabac is an insane corner, all about commit. Maybe put up 13 through 16. I can show you what just comes after it. So there we go. So basically, you come through Tabac, which is the first corner, absolutely committed. There's not a clear apex visual marker. And then if you go to Monaco, if you can ever see the cars go through the swimming pool chicane 13, 14, it's one of the great wonders of the world, to be honest. So much downforce, the way they try and straight line that chicane, and then they run all the way outside on Piscine to the outside barrier, and then they'll turn in the chicane after Piscine and basically aim for the barrier, and they would hit the barrier if it wasn't for the slightest kind of understeer, and they essentially don't quite hit it. It's really in slow motion. It's incredible to watch. That's Grandstand L. If you ever go to Monaco, definitely recommend going to Grandstand L. If you get a seat on that side, you can even look behind you and see them in swimming pool chicane. So some little tips and tricks there, hopefully helpful. 7 minutes to go now, and I'll let you know who's in the bottom 5. It's Lawson, Hadjar, Hulkenberg, Colapinto, and Gasly. So Bortoletto's up in P12. Both RB racing cars, Racing Bulls, are down there at the moment. Ollie Behrman up in P10 in the Haas, which is great for him. And Fernando Alonso in P8. They really got done over by the strategy in Imola, did the Aston Martins, but the qualifying looked a lot better for them. Oh my God. There was some insane traffic for Pierre Gasly. And I think Lance Stroll is going to be investigated for impedance. I wouldn't be surprised if Stroll gets a penalty. In fact, I believe he already has a penalty from practice, but he's completely impeded. And Stroll was on the radio saying, I thought Leclerc was Gasly. I can't see the difference with the sun. So certified Lance Stroll moment there. And Bortoletto on the exit of Saint-Devote, did just graze the wall. I think that's the first grazing of the wall we've seen. That won't have slowed him down. In fact, that will actually be the fastest way to go, just to graze that wall. Richard, Monaco is a tight track. Beadle St. Charles for the W. Here the motorsport joke. In Nissan with Team Nemo. I don't know. I can't follow that one. Squeezy, Patrick Dempsey's been racing for a few years now. I know he used to the Sebring 12. He doesn't mess around in those GTs. And maybe Porsche Cup as well. He might have done as well. I can't quite remember. So 6 minutes to go. No red flags at the moment. And it's really who's in the bottom half. So we're cycling through the table here. You can see who the leaders are. But when the leaderboard cycles to the bottom half, that's who you want to watch out for. Who's in that bottom 5, because they will be knocked out as soon as the qualifying Q1 session ends. So you don't want to be in that bottom 5 at all. And the other really interesting characteristic about Monaco is you have a tunnel, which I'm sure you know about, but you can see the tunnel there. It used to be that on the exit of the tunnel was the sea, but Monaco have actually reclaimed some land there in the last few years, which is quite disconcerting when you go there, because it used to be sea and now it's like hotels. And the other really interesting sector, I think, is for me, is Casino. So turn 3 and turn 4. What you might have seen on TV, and I asked Sebastian Buemi this, who's won in Formula E. He's driven this track in Formula 1 as well. They, on the exit Casino, they avoid the bump by kind of going around this bump. And I just asked him whether it's faster or not. And he said it is actually faster to go around the bump, because if you go over the bump, you'll unsettle the car. So that's really interesting to hear from Sebastian Buemi, that it's not a comfort thing. It's actually the way to keep the car nice and settled, again, with these Grand Effect Formula 1 cars. But we've seen that for decades now, the car's taking that line. Just 4 minutes to go now, till the end of Q1. Piastri says, I've hit the wall. Check the left-hand side. So Piastri's also hit the wall, which he doesn't need to do because he's all the way in P1. In fact, CJ says he can show us turn 6, which is the Lowe's hairpin. Absolutely incredible. Let me show you what they do using the SimLab Mercedes F1 wheel. they will go over like this, and they'll actually often take their hand off the wheel like that. And I asked Lucas de Grassi with this very wheel, and he said sometimes drivers, they'll grip the wheel here. They'll have a gripping space. And I asked him, do you modify the wheels for Monaco for that? He said, no, I don't modify it. I'll grip the wheel like that. And they go, what that means is when you're in this position, you're very vulnerable, because if you get a hit in the race or something, you're all extended here. And that is a place where you can actually overtake at Monaco by diving up the inside and basically putting someone else in the wall. Clickrock saying Tsunoda out. Well, Tsunoda's not out yet, but Tsunoda is in P17, so it's not looking great for Tsunoda. He had a good comeback, didn't he, in Imola in the race, but obviously the qualifying, he had that big crash. There we go, CJ straight on it. Look at that car there to basically rebuild the whole car, take some penalties. Absolutely incredible he was able to walk away from that. But the curse of the second Red Bull car continues. I was in Monaco 2 or 3 years ago, when actually Sergio Perez won from pole position. And that was one where Sergio Perez put it on pole position, and then mysteriously there's a red flag on the last lap of Q3 before anyone's do a lap. So that happens quite often. That was one of the questions. There'll be some more questions coming up later. Here we go. Here are the fastest laps, actually, of all time, I suspect. So, yes, that best lap in 2019 is slightly faster than what Charles Leclerc was able to do last year. So, Lewis Hamilton still has the all-time best lap in 2019. Have you ever seen Tsunoda finishing a race? He had a really bad section last year. Do you remember he pulled out a Monza on the formation lap, and then he did another lap the first corner, so... Yeah, Tsunoda's got to stop getting a reputation of kind of not finishing races, to be honest. I think it is a fair point. 1 minute 50 to go. Tsunoda is now in P11. Unfortunately for Fernando Alonso fans, he's in the drop zone along with Lance Stroll. Charles Leclerc is provisionally fastest as well. Oscar Piastri P2, Lando Norris P3. And there are the Williams, people who were backing the Williams. I tell you what, we could see a Williams pole here because they're right up there. Colapinto's in last place. Lance Stroll, Behrman, Alonso, and Bortoleto. I wouldn't be surprised if it stays like that. I wouldn't be surprised. Rick Schosberg is keeping a tab on Yuki Tsunoda, and yeah, Charles Leclerc is provisionally P1. Maybe he can do it. P1 in Q1, P1 in Q2, and obviously P1 in the all-important Q3. We will see. Yeah, 1 minute to go. There's been an incident between Hamilton and Verstappen for impeding as well. Lance Stroll, I think, is not going to get a penalty for the incident with Pierre Gasly, which is very interesting. But Lewis Hamilton and Max Verstappen have had some kind of issue. I'm not sure which way around that was, but the current standings, Verstappen is in P7 and Lewis Hamilton is all the way down in P13. Oh, dearie me. Hamilton's in P13. So keep an eye on this, everyone, because we're going to see the last lap times come through. There's Verstappen, 65 wins, 43 poles, more wins than poles. But in about 30 seconds, we're going to start to see the drivers go around for their very final, completing their laps. So there won't be any further laps taking place. And Lewis Hamilton's down now in P14, P15. Oh my God. Well, Ben Hunt, maybe we did a commentator's curse there because we were saying maybe Hamilton can get on pole position, but at the moment he's down in P15. So if any of Lawson, Bortoleto, Alonso, Stroll, and Colapinto can beat him, but Hamilton's on a quick lap. Surely Hamilton's going to shoot up on his quick lap. Yes, he does. Back up to P4. So Hamilton has got himself safe there, but left it a little bit late. Maybe he was impeded by Verstappen, which is why he needed to leave it late. Liam Lawson has also gone up into P9. So Liam Lawson has got out of the drop zone. So we'll see when we flick over. Here we go. Bortoleto, Behrman, Gasly, Stroll, Colapinto. So Alonso has got himself out as well. Hadjar is in P11 right now, but it's so close. It's very, very, very close, actually. My word, it's extremely close. From Albon in P6 to Bortoleto in P16, it's just 2.5 tenths, which is absolutely insane. There is a yellow flag out at the moment, so maybe someone has binned it on their fast lap. Or maybe, yeah, oh my God, a Mercedes in the wall. Mercedes in the wall. Is Kimi Antonelli in the wall? So Kimi Antonelli was 15. Kimi Antonelli is going to be out. Kimi Antonelli is going to be out. And it is, very weirdly, at the exit of the tunnel. Can we pull that up, CJ, if possible? I don't know whether we have that chicane. if we could just pull up the track map, I'll let everyone know where it is. Kimi Anthony's in the wall of place I don't often see, so it is actually P11. Sorry, turn 11. Antonelli's on the outside and put it in the barrier. And goodness me, that is he didn't need to do that because he was in P15, but he has done it. And he puts the wheel back in, and the wheel he puts back in is this wheel, by the way. So that's the wheel he's put back in. I'm going to see what he's done. So he's come out of the tunnel, and on the brakes. Oh, you know what he's done? He's come out of the tunnel. He's turned in. His left front has just clipped the barrier. He's broken the suspension, or the tires come off, and that's why he's gone straight on. So Kimi Antonelli has unfortunately crashed and will take no further part in qualifying. Annoyingly for Bortoleto won't progress either because Kimi was in P15. So we're just going to have... In fact, there is a red flag right now. CJ's put up, but it's there might be a slightly longer to just recover the car in between sessions here. But that is Q1 complete, and we are going to lose Bortoleto, Behrman, Pierre Gasly, Lance Stroll, and Colapinto. Terrible for the Alpines. Like what Alpine are doing here, I don't know. P18 and P20 turning into a bit of a meme team. Lance Stroll as well, all the way down in P19. So frustrating for Lance Stroll, given Fernando Alonso is all the way in P8. Yeah, Captain had saying he broke the rim. Yes, indeed. So it's a rim, literally just clipped the rim. Really no margin for error there, but that's what's happened. So unfortunate. Bortoleto is going to do what Ollie Behrman was doing last week, and he's going to try and stay in the car and try and get through. Hamilton, so maybe it was Hamilton impeding Max, but given they didn't give a penalty to Lance Stroll, I'm not sure they give a penalty to Lewis Hamilton either. CJ just asked me to remind you where I am, which is actually SimLab. So I'm literally in SimLab HQ, and you can see some rigs behind me, and they make the official Mercedes AMG Petronas F1 wheel here, which is incredible. I was using it today. I actually took this to Monaco and asked drivers about it. So if you're wondering why I'm somewhere different, that looks cooler than where I normally am. It is there. So that's Q1 completed. I think we might do some quiz questions soon as well. Let's do it. CJ's ready. If you're in the motorsport live environment, make sure you answer these. If you're in the UK, this is to win the tickets for the premiere to motorsport. F1 The Academy on Tuesday. Which Red Bull driver crashed out on Monaco Q1 in 2023? I have mentioned it on stream, but I'm not going to repeat it. And we're going straight into the other one as well. Q2 will start soon, but they have to clear the car. What's the best ever Monaco qualifying result for Kimi Antonelli in junior categories? Great question there. Maybe Frecker, F2 as well. I was saying earlier, I didn't know. So hopefully you've been able to get your answer for that. There's going to be 2 more in the next session as well. CJ, I might just pop out for 1 minute and be back. If we could pop the track back. Oh, there you go. There's the question. So I'll be back in a second, chat. Nice. CJ's been helping you out. He's showing the quiz questions again. So maybe another opportunity to enter if you hadn't answered them already. Welcome, Reed van Leen. I know you're from the Netherlands. That's also where I am at the moment, which is super cool, at SimLab HQ. I can't remember if you're running a SimLab rig or not. Let me know. Andika saying McLaren to the win. Victory for McLaren. I think Piastri's going to get pole, but that's just my hunch. And I see people are asking about the answers in the chat. I'm not going to give them away. I don't know all of them anyway, so I've been making it harder for you. So don't listen. And more quiz questions tomorrow for the race stream, which I believe the guys at the Red Flags podcast are going to be hosting, and you can go meet them in Silverstone. Coverage begins 8:30 a.m. Eastern time for the greatest day of the calendar for motorsport fans. I'm just going to say that now. Now I'm in the vibe. Yeah, so this is the biggest day in racing. Not the greatest show, because I think that's specific for Indy, but British GP, MotoGP, British Grand Prix, MotoGP, Monaco Grand Prix in Formula One, Indy 500 in IndyCar, and then the Coke 600 in NASCAR. What an absolute insane day that is for all forms of, well, not all forms of motorsport, but 4 different forms of motorsport. The only crazy thing they could do is put the Nürburgring 24 hours on the same day, same weekend. Ben saying go Lewis. Let us know now who you think is going to get on pole position, actually, because Charles Leclerc provisionally fastest and the McLaren's just loitering. So, yeah, anyone more confident on Charles Leclerc now? Let us know. George Russell's been there or thereabouts in most qualifying sessions this year, actually. The Mercedes looks quite good in qualifying. So he could potentially spring something, but I would rate anyone who says maybe the Williams are going to get on pole position here. That would be a very romantic thing for one of the Williams to get on pole. Ali says Charles. Melsan Charles is flying. I mean, this is his home circuit. I mean, he will say it in the interviews, and it is it's true, really. Like, these are the circuits he was walking and driving on as a kid. So it's his home circuit. He'll know the track, maybe just more comfortable with it. I know basically all the drivers live in Monaco, but he actually grew up here, which is super, super, super cool. I think Oscar Piastri does live in Monaco now. And interestingly, he did an interview where he said it's a bit dystopian. And I'm not sure Monaco would be that happy about him saying that. Lando Norris was also asked, is this your home Grand Prix? And Lando said, it's not my home Grand Prix, it's where I have my bed, which is interesting. He says British GP is the same Grand Prix. But a lot of the drivers do live in Monaco, so it'll be super convenient for them to get a good night's sleep tonight, which is actually quite important. Kimi Anthony's walking back to the garage by the yachts, which is super cool. Lots of people watching from a yacht. Often it's sponsors and it's business kind of hospitality and stuff like that. People bring up a yacht. Captain said Leclerc had a 10.9 in FP3. Okay, well then we're getting close to that record territory. I think the cars are getting ready to leave in Q2. I don't know, CJ, if there's anything else you want me to cover before we dive into that, or we're going to enjoy. I tell you what, let's do a stat attack, because we can do many things here. We'll do a stat attack, and I'll get a stat up. Yes, this is the 82nd edition of the Monaco Grand Prix. 71 of them as part of the Formula World Championship, because all this stuff changed over time. And it's for the first time in the event's history, the Monaco GP has a title sponsor in the form of Tag Heuer, which is interesting because Rolex used to sponsor Formula One generally, but that ended, and I think now Tag Heuer are in, and they're also the title sponsor. I also know that Monaco used to produce the race feed themselves. They may still do it. I did go to race control in Monaco 2 weeks ago, and it's interesting how at Monaco they're regarded as being very good at what they do, the stewarding, all the stuff about race control, because it's very important to Monaco as like a branding thing, as a marketing thing, as a tourism thing, that the motorsport goes smoothly. Q2 is underway, everyone. So as I mentioned previously, it's going to be looking for the fastest 10 drivers in the session who are going to go through and participate in Q3. Rick van der Vee saying Leclerc, Verstappen, and Piastri. We will see. Max Verstappen, where are you at the moment? P11 right now. But so we've already seen one red flag, actually. Already seen one crash. Is it going to be one of these per session? You don't. Look what CJ's done for us here. He's greyed out the bottom 5, so we know they're not participating, just to make it even clearer. Ali says, is who winning pole wins tomorrow? Traditionally, that's been the case. I'm not sure I have that to hand. I will try. We could do a stat attack later, but I'd love to know. In fact, I can do a stat attack now, because basically in the 70 previous runnings of Monaco GP, the winner has come from the top 3 on the grid 60 occasions, which is 85%. In fact, I want to throw this over to you, chat. How many times do you think the pole winner has won this race? What's the percentage you think that the pole winner has won the Monaco GP? I don't think anyone's going to get it right. I wouldn't have got this right. Let me know the percentage in the chat. Jack says, got to get to Monaco Sunday. It's a really nice trip down from Nice. Take the train, and it's just like Disneyland for Formula One. Yeah. I mean, obviously there's a lot of street circuits these days, but none of them are really like Monaco, and like none of them really have the heritage of Monaco, I would say. And I don't think you could start Monaco now. I don't think it would work for health and safety reasons. But we have it. A T72 saying 67%, Vlatka 95%, Kate 12%. It's none of those. It is 45%. So it's only 40. It's only a half chance you win from pole position. I thought it'd be way higher than that. I think there was more reliability issues in the past, maybe. So it'd be interesting how that's been affected in the last 15 years or so. Hamish, 80%. Yeah, so it was actually 45%. We are in Q2 right now. 12.5 minutes to go in Q2. KT's Stroll penalty starting 20th. Prediction, dive bomb into turn 1. Yeah, Stroll does have that penalty, so not the best qualifying session for Lance Stroll, let's be honest. Yeah, Black says not that much. Yeah, I agree. I thought it would be like 70% or something. Maybe even 70% being low, but shows that I'm not on top of all the stats, which is why we have the stat attack, and I have all of them helpfully put together for me by CJ. They fixed the barrier, by the way, for Kimi. It wasn't a big crash. He clipped the barrier inside and took the tyre, I think, off the rim, and just went straight on and was kind of decelerating into the tyre wall on the far side. Charles Leclerc is on track. I think it might still be Monaco producing this visual because they absolutely love Charles Leclerc, as they should, in the Ferrari. I said last year, when Charles Leclerc won for Ferrari, that would make up for the season, like having a terrible season. He didn't have a terrible season anyway, but I think that would make up for it. It's the one you want to win. And does go provisionally fastest on the mediums, interestingly. So Charles Leclerc, you can see they're on the mediums. That is pretty crazy. We're seeing a medium running now, which is a C5 compound. But the McLarens are out. McLaren's gone fast now. Lando Norris, 1 minute 10.959 for Lando Norris. And I think this could be quite ominous, actually. Alex Albon on the medium tyre as well. So Albon going around on the mediums. Slotting into third place provisionally. Yeah, Captain Addy's spotting the lap times very specifically in the 1 minute 10s. I think it's very, very, very ominous. McLaren looking strong. Oh, no. I think George Russell's come to a stop here in the tunnel. I think he's come to a stop in the tunnel. Yellow flag. Yeah, big problem for George Russell. Not great for Mercedes, to say the least. Does he have some damage, or that might be a while to recover as well? Yeah, red flag. Red flag. CJ will throw it. There we go. Red flag. George Russell has come to a stop. By the way, it's very spooky looking at that wheel and seeing the wheel looking exactly like this in George Russell's car with the same sponsor. I wonder what buttons he's pressing. He's pressing... What's he pressing? He's on the encoder. The neutral... He's not on the neutral button. It's flashing red. He's cycling through. He's trying to restart the car, basically. I wonder if he's able to restart it. He can still take part in the session. He's doing a Control-Alt-Delete. Restart Windows. Yeah, Black has got the red flag. Car won't start. Maybe we should run down and swap him the wheel. He's on the radio now, which I presume is a WhatsApp button. He's WhatsApping Toto Wolff. Visor up for George Russell. Doesn't look too happy. I think this isn't. Yeah, maybe he thought he could really do a good qualifying here, as he's been doing this season. It's been very impressive. See George Russell in qualifying. They're going to have some work to do in the race, to say the least. There we go. George Russell, CJ's put on screen. 3 wins, 5 poles, 19 podiums. So only 3 wins for George Russell. I feel like he has more gravitas, more aura in Formula One than just a 3-time winner. If that makes sense. He's now definitely the team leader at Mercedes. He does need this wheel. He needs a SimLab wheel. And now the marshals are running down. They're telling George Russell, you stay in the car. But he's just got out. But they're going to push him down. That must be the protocol. They're going to push him down. Okay. George Russell's sitting on the car now. He doesn't want to get back in, and he's steering it, sitting on the car. It's quite a funny picture. You see that one in the newspapers tomorrow, maybe. Now George Russell's sitting in the car. So he's jumped back in the car and put the steering wheel back on. Oh, no! The steering wheel wasn't attached, so the car wasn't steering. It's a bit of a calamity here. There is also a marshal who is extremely short. No comment on it, but it's like there's a big contrast with George Russell sitting on the car and a shorter marshal. I'm sure it'll be an interesting photo. Just taking a look at the wheel early on in the lap, like whether it flashed up with something. How do I think the 2 mandatory stops will play out? I don't think I'm not sure it's going to be as transformative as they think it is, but I may be wrong. Yeah, Chris Mills, maybe you can explain the mandatory 2 stops. So basically, because Monaco has often been dictated by qualifying, although not as much as we thought, because only 45%. And last year, there was a bit of a farcical situation where Sergio Perez and Kevin Magnussen came together on the first lap. So there's a red flag. So everyone changed tyres on the first lap and they didn't box again. So they want to stop that from happening again, basically. So they're mandating everyone has to do 2 stops. I'm actually not sure whether you need to use 2 different tyre compounds either, but that would make it more interesting. Yeah, the marshals are pushing that car back down to where Kimi Antonelli crashed. Zinedine Zidane is here, which is quite cool to see Zidane enjoying the racing. I think I've seen him at a few races, actually. And might just be seeing where Oscar Piastri might have just clipped the barrier, because he did say before he touched the barrier. But it looks like his car is okay. So it's just a Mercedes who've had some issues here. Stewards looking like Star Wars pilots. The fire marshals have an incredible helmet that's like reflective gold. Looks really cool. Captain, not sure about the compounds. We have to use 3 sets of tyres. Okay, that's how they've enforced it. And now George Russell's car has been recovered, so the red flag will end very quickly. He gives the wheel to a marshal. And if that was a SimLab wheel, the marshal could use it sim racing. And I think the session will be restarted with 10 minutes to go. So we continue the trend of there being a red flag in each session. Macbaka says, hello from Finland. Hope you're doing well. Hope everything's well in Finland. What's the vibe like in Finland right now? Is it long evenings, basically? Yeah, Jack's interested. Zidane is in the garage, probably with Alpine, because I think he's an investor of Alpine, if I remember. So Alpine have some celebrity investors. When I was down there, Idris Elba was involved, so I asked Idris Elba about karting, actually. He recommends karting for kids. Something to get involved in, and he's an investor of the Procure team. Okay, so it's green flag already. So green flag, we're going to be underway. And you can see Lando at the moment is top of the leaderboard. He's got the fastest lap icon because obviously he's top. And Verstappen P2. But you don't want to be caught out by a red flag here. So especially with still some rookies on circuit. Hadjar will be on circuit. In fact, Hadjar's the only rookie on circuit. Liam Lawson, technically a rookie, but doesn't feel like... I mean, Liam Lawson P5 at the moment, so they'll be hoping to get through into P3. Into Q3, apologies. Yeah, Black has got the green flags out. No worries, Jack. I'll let you know if there's any more footballers who are spotted. I'm sure there'll be plenty. I did see Andriy Shevchenko in Monaco last time as well, which was super cool. Blast from the past there. I don't think we'll see people finish this on the medium tyre, but I could be wrong. Albon on the medium, Leclerc on the medium as well. Hamilton on the mediums, Carlos Sainz on the mediums. In fact, there was a green flag, but it looks a bit premature because they've just delayed it for another 3 minutes. Haswell track, I don't even like in a game like Real Racing. Is that the mobile game? You'll know this track, Haswell, then, from Real Racing. You can see it there. So just to confirm, George Russell lost some kind of power issue with the car in the tunnel. Yeah, and there's 2 minutes or so to go until we start. I think there was a bit of miscommunication, actually. And again, here are all the races happening this weekend. Let me know in the chat, actually, which one is your dream race? If you go to one, which one of the 4 would you go to? CJ's telling me you go to you can combine the NASCAR and the Indy. Is that true? Brickyard 400 and the Indy. Is a Brickyard next weekend, CJ? Okay. So Indy, we could add the Brickyard 400 for the NASCAR at Indy. It's kind of one of their flagship ones as well, I think. Have I played F1 25 yet? No, I haven't played it yet. They're really staggering how people can play it, actually. So it's just Breaking Point has come out. But if you are going to play it, I would recommend, obviously, there's probably no better wheel. There are lots of replica F1 wheels, but that's going to be interesting to see people. And obviously, I'll do it myself, actually. Play the F1 game in that in first person, maybe do some mixed reality. It's going to blur the lines. End of July is July 27th is the Brickyard 400. Captain Howdy lives about 3 hours from Charlotte. So have you ever been to the Coke 600? Or Suffolk the Roval, maybe? Welcome, Omen Tick, as well. Good to have you on board. So maybe they just wanted to clear a little bit of debris or something because they're going to let us go again in 1 minute. Yeah, I mean, Q2, basically, you just don't want to be... If you're a top team, top driver, you don't want to be knocked out in Q2. Q3 is where we're going to see them all really go for it and set the grid and give yourself a 45% chance of winning the Grand Prix, which I'm sure any driver would take. Captain Howdy hasn't been. Well, I suppose 3 hours from Charlotte in America is quite close, but 3 hours in England is a long way to drive. So there's plenty of tracks I haven't been to that are 3 hours away. Packed grandstands as well. It's great to see at Monaco. It's always sold out. Like absolutely always. But there's going to be 10 minutes to go. In fact, the cars are queued up on the pit exit. So we will see. Yes, and they are leaving now. So I reckon they're going to circulate for about 10 minutes and just keep trying to improve their lap times. They're not going to play it cute and do a lap or two and come in and do low fuel. I suspect it doesn't make enough difference here at Monaco, and there's a threat of red flags anyway. Hooked On still plays old F1 games. What's your favourite old F1 game? F1 2001? Jeff Crammond's Grand Prix 2? Remember playing those at Monaco when there were barely graphics, but it was still undeniably Monaco. So the cars are going around, and we are ticking into Q2 now. Be great to see if Isaac Hadjar can get into Q3, actually. I think that will really improve his stock. It does beg the question, should they put Hadjar in the Red Bull at some point this season if Tsunoda is going to struggle? But Tsunoda is still in qualifying at the moment. Super Monaco GP Sega, going proper old school. Both Red Bulls are still in the garage, by the way. They're doing a strap, but they're not going to worry about it. Melson says, I would love to go to Austin this year. It's my birthday week, but still says my dream. Melson, if you're in the US, you have to answer the quiz questions that I think CJ will put some more up after Q2, because genuinely someone will win the prize. I remember doing another partner stream motorsport last year at Las Vegas, and there were also some great prizes and people won them, and it was awesome. There you go. So you just got the screen. So for that one, you have to do the questions today and tomorrow, but start today, get them right today if you can, and put yourself. Someone's going to win it. It's going to be great. Russell should walk back to the yacht like Kimi Räikkönen and get an ice cream. That would be I think it's a cliched move now. So Kimi did it once, but unironically, he did actually walk back that way. And in fact, Kimi Antonelli did actually walk back past the yachts. So there was a major marketing moment there missed that I'm sure F1 would have loved. 7.5 minutes to go, by the way, in Q2. And we still have Lando, Max Verstappen, Charles Leclerc, Alex Albon, Liam Lawson, Isaac Hadjar, Fernando Alonso, Nico Hulkenberg, Lewis Hamilton, Carlos Sainz currently make up the top 10, but that will change. It is a long walk, yeah. It is a long walk. I'm hoping there's going to be no more red flags here, and we'll see a actual battle here to get into Q3 where the driver can make a difference. That's my hope. No one can Kimi like Kimi apart from Kimi. It was interesting to see Kimi Antonelli's crash, actually. He was so close to that barrier. And I asked Sebastian Buemi about it. I said, do you try and avoid that barrier? He's like, no, you really have to look at that barrier because you're trying to get very, very, very close to it. And you do want to get close, but you obviously don't want to touch it. And it's not often in Formula One at this caliber we see someone do touch it. 6 minutes 40 to go. Exactly as I was going to say, Bilos. Who's its favourite pole position? I think Oscar Piastri is favourite of pole position, but a lot of people saying Charles Leclerc could do it in the Ferrari. But Lewis Hamilton is provisionally second as well now. So provisionally second for Lewis Hamilton doesn't mean much. You just want to get through into Q3. But let me know in the chat what you think in terms of pole position. Are people feeling more confident about Charles Leclerc now? Because I tell you what, Oscar Piastri just finished a lap. He only finished it in P4, actually. Only in P4, I say. So behind Lando, behind Lewis Hamilton, and behind Charles Leclerc. Haswell saying, meanwhile in MotoGP, Fabio Quartararo got P1. Long years for Yamaha Ducati domination. Yeah, I mean, I remember the Honda domination, like Jorge Lorenzo trying to beat Danny Pedrosa. Danny Pedrosa was always so unlucky. And then Marc Marquez on the Honda. So for me now, it's all changed, like with the Ducatis and whatever's going on at KTM. And it's very exciting at MotoGP, I have to say. Yamaha in MotoGP and also in Formula E. So good to see from Yamaha. Doug saying Hamilton pole, Belos 1-2 Ferrari possibly this round. We will see with 5 minutes to go in Q2. And like I said, I hope no one puts it in the wall. We get a actual kind of flying finish here. Lando is just about to finish the lap. I wonder if we'll go provisionally fastest or not. Yes, he does. Provisionally fastest 1 minute 10.5. That is only a couple of tenths off the lap record, and also very close to Charles Leclerc's pole position last lap. Charles Leclerc last year, I should say, did get a 1 minute 10.27, and CJ's pulled up the all-time best lap of 1 minute 10.1. So Lando's just gone about 4 tenths off that in Q2. So I think the McLarens have serious pace here, basically. Is my summary of that. Melson, I think the first three are still Lando, Max, and Charles. Yeah, Max a little bit under the radar so far. He's doing an outlap in P6. I think he's doing less laps than everyone else, which is maybe a very confident move from Max Verstappen. Just 4 minutes to go, so we'll still have a few laps coming in. Joseph, what's wrong with Anthony? Anthony's not setting a lap time because he basically crashed at the end of Q1. So that's why he's not out on circuit. And then George Russell also had an issue. So both Mercedes having bad luck here and not taking part in Q2. That makes it easier, actually, for the rest of the drivers because only 3 drivers are going to get knocked out here. And at the moment, it's Hadjar, Hulkenberg, and Ocon. My prediction is I think Hulkenberg won't make it, but he always surprises me. I don't think Ocon will make it, and I think Lawson will get knocked out. That's my prediction, but I could be wrong. In fact, I probably will be. When's Q3 starting? I say Q3 probably starting in about 10 minutes' time. That'll be the final part of qualifying, because there's 3 minutes to go here in Q2. And yeah, if anyone's been watching the MotoGP, let us know what any more details that happen there in qualifying. It's incredible to see them at Silverstone. They get so low to the curbs. I was driving Silverstone today in a sim, and some of these curbs are massive, even like in a Formula 3 car. So for them to do it on a prototype motorbike and brush their shoulders, not even their elbows, but their shoulders is insane. So I'm just keeping an eye on the drop zone here. It's now Hadjar, Hulkenberg, and Ocon in the drop zone. No worries, Bilos. Glad you're finding it helpful. And I'm just a bit worried about Tsunoda. I hope for his sake Tsunoda can get through here and not have another kind of bad qualifying that will set him up with lots to do in the race. With just 1 minute 50 to go, so we'll see 2 or so more laps come in. Hooked on says, I love MotoGP, I love the games too. Yeah, I think Milestone's still making those games. They added some new stuff this year, like in the career mode, I think. I always find in the MotoGP games, I always forget to brake early, and my rider just goes absolutely flying in the grab on the first corner. That's a yearly tradition for me. So drivers starting their last laps now. It's Hadjar, Hulkenberg, and Ocon in the drop zone. Tsunoda's just above, Lawson just above. Alonso saying I'm going to box, I can't do more. So Alonso, I think, saying he's done his best lap. He's going to box. Alonso has been known to do this before, where you say to the team, I'm done. I can't go faster. That's as fast as you're going to get from me. I'm coming in. And Hadjar at the moment is in the drop zone. Just going to update the, if I do that in a bit. So, yeah, Hadjar to Yuki, that's a really close one. I mean, yeah, 0.003 of a second. It's always incredible. Like we look at these times on a board, but in reality, that's no time. That's no time, considering how long the lap is to finish that close. I mean, 0.003 of a second. There's people that run 100 meters, and they're not 0.003 of a second close to each other. And this is a long lap. Not the longest. In fact, it's probably the shortest I can form long, but it's still a long distance for the car to go. And Tsunoda is actually in the drop zone at the moment. No, he hasn't pulled out of the bag, actually. So at the moment, it's Tsunoda in the drop zone with Hulkenberg and Carlos Sainz as drivers are going over the line. I'm worried here for Carlos. In fact, Carlos Sainz is out. So Carlos Sainz, weirdly, was on the medium tyre, and I suspect that Williams have tried to do some kind of mad strategy here because they've had both their drivers, as you can see, on the mediums to try and do something funny for the race, and it hasn't worked for Carlos Sainz because he's been knocked out. So Piastri is going to finish lap as well. I'm not sure why he doesn't need to. But the drivers we've lost in Q2 are Tsunoda, I believe, Carlos Sainz, and Nico Hulkenberg. Yes, that's who we've lost. So I was hoping it wouldn't be Tsunoda, but it has been. And then Isaac Hadjar has managed to get through in P7. So again, if you're Red Bull, are you looking at Isaac Hadjar and you're thinking, well, Yuki Tsunoda's going to go to Honda anyway? Pity Kimi crash at Q1. Yeah, especially at Monaco. It's a circuit you really don't want to make that kind of mistake, but it's happened. That means our top 10 is confirmed, by the way, for the shootout. And all credit to Esteban Ocon, who somehow has dragged his Haas into Q3. That's insane. But you have to wonder, like, what's going on at Red Bull? Is Max Verstappen really that good? Or is the car that difficult? Or is Tsunoda struggling that much? What was going on with Lawson? So many questions at Red Bull that I don't really have the answers for. But speaking of answers, when we're ready, at some point, CJ will be able to throw, I think, more questions on screen for the giveaway. But I might have surprised CJ here. But basically, I need to update the link in the chat because I think it's case sensitive. So I'm just going to update the pinned link. So if you do want to make sure you can enter this, hit the pinned link, and then you can actually enter, and someone's going to win the prize, which is great. Yuki Tsunoda's been knocked out. So, don't know if we can get the Tsunoda pictures up as well, CJ, from last week. Just, a story is this was Tsunoda last week. Tsunoda this week hasn't got into Q3, so it's two bad qualifying in a row, really. Oh, nice. Super cool. People in the Discord chat dropping some pictures there so you can get some more context. Yeah, there we go. Okay. George Russell sitting on the car getting pushed by the marshals. Hopefully I described that accurately. You can see. Yeah, two giveaways. One going on in the stream. One of them is for F1 Academy, the movie. I want to get that exactly right. F1 The Academy, which is a premiere in London on the 27th of May, which is Tuesday. This Tuesday, 5 pairs of tickets available. You have to be in the UK to be eligible. And basically the questions can be popping up for that, so make sure you answer them if you're available to go. And then in addition, there is for US people, so from the US, this is taking place today and tomorrow. It will be finalized tomorrow, be it drawn tomorrow, I think. So questions are coming up. Basically, if you're eligible, answer the questions. Which team had their worst two-car qualifying of the season in Imola? Ferrari, Alpine, Mercedes, or Red Bull? I'm not going to answer, but don't listen anyway. But definitely enter if you're eligible. Yeah. And another one here. How many times has the Monaco GP been part of the Formula One Championship? Which I did mention on stream. 82, 71, 75, or 70. So that came from one of the stat attacks. And again, just a reminder, it is what we're calling the biggest day in racing. So if you're a racing fan, we've got the MotoGP qualifying today, race tomorrow. Formula One Monaco qualifying right now, race tomorrow. Indy 500 qualifying, I don't really understand. They qualify for a whole week or something. But qualifying's happened. There were some disqualifications that were quite controversial. So there's been a lot of eyes on the race. They had a hot dog race, I saw. That's already happened. And the big race tomorrow, and the Coke 600 tomorrow as well. You can see some more details there on screen. So yeah, pretty cool. Biggest day in racing, and we're part of it here with the Formula One. Oh, look at this. CJ's put on the double. I remember Carl Larson took a helicopter or something, and maybe he's doing it again. Is he going to do the? Okay. So basically, this is crazy because this would be like Lewis Hamilton doing the Monaco race and taking helicopter Silverstone and doing the MotoGP. Carl Larson, I think, is trying it this year. I think he tried last year, but do the Indy 500 and then take a jet, I imagine, to Charlotte and take place in the Coke 600. That's super cool. Yeah, that's awesome. Do the double. I mean, if you won both, I mean, CJ, I think you know. But how's Carl Larson done? Is it just doing it is great, or can you actually win both? And that's just like I said. Okay. CJ says just doing it is great, like just getting it done. CJ, I'm going to step away for another minute, and I'll be back ready for Q3. Maybe we could put the track map up again. I'll be back. Yeah, that's the track I know well. I'm just thinking like that should also be a thing, and I can imagine the touring car driver doing it and doing like BTCC somewhere, and then going to do wild touring cars, doing the double. Feels like quite an American thing, but I like it. I think we should do it more in Europe as well. So hopefully, if you're eligible, you've been able to enter the quizzes. I'm super excited that some motorsport fans are going to win those experiences. That's great. Is the Qualalo still on? Yes, Quali is still on. I like the word Qualalo though. I'm going to use that. We are just waiting for Q3 to start, which is the final part of qualifying. It's been amazing so far. This is part of motorsport here. You can see the whole experience with Race Centre Live. They are asking for feedback. So if you have any feedback, positive, negative, sideways, whatever, put it in the chat. They will see it. And I think they're really keen to get your feedback as they are supporting the interactive watch-alongs that you know that we do week in, week out. So it's really cool to have this support, actually. I remember back in the day, we were updating a Google spreadsheet. So it's come on since then. Oh, there we go. Motorsport.com saying, share your feedback. So they really want that. Q3 is underway. So we are underway in Q3. It's happening. And yes, this is the top 10 shootout. I'm going to put it out there. I predict a red flag. We've seen a red flag in all three. The question is there going to be a red flag in the final minutes? So let me know. Okay, nice maps, guys. Live map would be great. Thanks for that feedback. That's super helpful. 12 minutes to go in Q3. Live map with the cars on. Motorsport, that would be difficult, but it's good to have the feedback. Yeah. Hi, Craig. Hope you're doing well. Just joining us for Q3. Let us know if anyone chat if I haven't seen you yet. If you want to say hello. Just a reminder, I am streaming from the Netherlands at SimLab, who are a sim racing company. I'm just visiting them. They happen to make the Mercedes F1 wheel, which is super cool. And we've heard from Ben Hunt, editor-in-chief at Motorsport, who's at Silverstone, which is super cool. And we also had a great insight from Lolita Camello over at Indy. And I've forgotten, Motorsport said they're going to send me to a NASCAR race, which is insane. I can't believe I've forgotten, but that's going to be like bucket list trip where I'm going to go as a proper like British motorsport fan and go to NASCAR, and I'm going to get the cap, and I'm going to have the hot dog, and I'm going to have the beer, and I'm going to do all that stuff, and I want to be by the fencing like that. I'm just super excited. Like, that is insane. Who is P1 right now? No one is P1 because we have not had the first lap time set yet. So we'll find out very soon. And I think they're just going to circulate. It's not going to be the usual sort of do a lap, come in, chill, go out again. Kireth, watch any other F1 YouTubers? Well, I know the Red Flags, the guys at the Red Flags podcast are going to be hosting you tomorrow for the race watch along. So I would recommend following them and hitting the link in the description. They're going to guide you through tomorrow, which is going to be really interesting with the 2 stops. Whether that works out or not with the 2 stops, I don't know, but it's cool that we don't know. Rick says Piastri at the moment. Maybe he's just inherited it because he's technically fast in Q2. Suji like a kid at Christmas. Yeah, I mean, it's awesome in the sim racing in a sim racing company doing a watch along. It's mad. Infor Jack saying Fernando points this weekend. Well, they were hard done by in Imola. They were hard done by. They were looking really good in qualifying. Melson, you will love NASCAR. Yeah, I'll be asking a load of questions for sure. 9 minutes to go in qualifying, and I mean, what do we think, chat? Okay, now's the time. Let me know right now just the name of the driver you think is going to get pole position. Just the name of the driver. Who's going to get pole position? Simple question where everyone's going to agree, surely. Rick Norris now P1. Oh, thanks GTRK. We're watching the lives regularly. Watching the sim racing on the F1, I presume. Lando goes provisionally fastest, 1 minute 10.464. Getting close to black record-ish. ClickRock says Albon. Alex Albon. Esteban Ocon went around on the medium. I think there's something here with the strategy on tyres. I have a feeling, and I might be wrong, because of the 2-stop, you want to preserve a set of soft tyres. That's my feeling, which is why we saw Williams do their strat. And now Esteban Ocon is also doing a similar strat where he's not going to use a soft tyre in Q3. Captain saying Leclerc. It is the royal race. I did ask David Coulthard. I interviewed David Coulthard in Monaco. I said, what's it like to have the champagne? And he said, it's such a relief because it's the royal race. You've worked so hard. You've been so close to the barriers. And when you get up there and have the champagne, he said it does actually mean something because it's, and he works a lot with Mark Webber, who's actually Oscar Piastri's manager. So it's great for these kind of people who we would watch back in the day are now managing some of these younger drivers and giving that advice. Did Colapinto crash? No, he just came last. Rare non-Colapinto crash session. Don't know what he was playing at there. Yeah, Lando Norris provisionally fastest, Oscar Piastri provisionally P2, Charles Leclerc P3, Max Verstappen P4. You can never count him out. Lewis Hamilton P5. Then Albon again on the medium, Ocon on the medium, Alonso on the softs, and Lawson on the softs as well. With just 6 minutes to go, we're going to find out who's going to be on pole position and get that 45% chance of winning the race, which is probably one of the higher percentages in Formula One. Alex Albon, 111 career starts. Wow. I tell you what, Alex Albon is one of the most experienced race Formula One drivers of all time because they just race so much now. Like back in the day, the seasons were not as intense as they are now. And also the points were different as well. I see a lot of people comparing points that you can't really do. So Alex Albon is 105 more GPs under his belt than Isaac Hadjar. Just to put that into context. So Norris still provisionally fastest. Alex Albon goes P6 on the mediums. I reckon they're trying to play a strat here. and keep those soft tyres fresh and clean for the race tomorrow. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if Albon actually ducks in, because, I mean, tomorrow, and this might be farcical, I wonder if we'll see a lot of drivers pit on lap 1. So we'll see half of the field coming on lap 1, get their first tyre change done. And maybe you start on the mediums for that first lap, actually, and then you go medium, soft, soft. We will see, because the tyres can last a whole lap here. Oh my goodness, Lewis Hamilton grazing the barrier at turn 16. Don't know if we can ping that up, CJ, and I can show everyone where Lewis Hamilton just did the perfect line, just grazing the barrier at T16 just after to back and the swimming pool chicane. Absolutely incredible if you can sit there and just look straight down. You see, oh, there we go, CJ's pulled it up. Turn 16 there, that's where Lewis Hamilton just grazed the barrier perfectly. You want to kiss the barrier there, in my opinion. That's how you know you're doing a good lap. And I think Hamilton will feel it slightly in the car and know that he's pushing it. Jack Grimes says, if you're not the pole sitter, would you pit on lap 1? I agree with Jack again later on. Like if I'm P20, I'm probably boxing straight away and getting out of any dirty air. So I can see, Colapinto boxing lap 1. In fact, I'd bet now I'd be surprised if Colapinto doesn't box lap 1. The thing is, it's all a little bit of like game theory, prisoner's dilemma, because it's all affected by other people not boxing. So if everyone else boxes, you'd be better not boxing. Nelson says, what a strategy. Yeah, it's going to be an interesting strategy tomorrow, to be fair. I don't know what's going to happen. I can't predict it. So we're just under 4 minutes to go of the final part of qualifying. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining. Both Ferraris are leaving the pits. I don't know why I mix up those words. And we will see whether Charles Leclerc can make it 2 Ferrari podiums in a row this year and last year. Doesn't have a long time to make it happen, though. But fingers crossed. And both Racing Bulls as well in Q3. So Liam Lawson and Isaac Hadjar, maybe they can do something as well. This is the time when the drivers are really pushing it now. And you'll be able to see the highlights after of those laps and leaving no margin for error. As Motorsport said in their race preview on the stream, you could just put a postcard in between the car and the barrier. Sometimes not even that, I'd say. Norris might be on a huge lap here. Lando Norris might be on a huge lap. Lando Norris with I think potential lap record. CJ, can we pull up the lap record? Because and Piastri goes even faster. Oscar Piastri 1 minute 10.14, and now Norris has gone 1 minute 10.12 new lap records. So Lewis Hamilton's lap record there from 2019 has been beaten, and Lando is provisionally fastest with 2.5 minutes to go. There we go, record-breaking lap. 1 minute 10.125. So just a couple of hundredths faster than Piastri. That is crazy, 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 crazy close. And Charles Leclerc currently loitering in P3. Rick saying Lando, NSU win, we don't know yet. Captain Howdy, I know you've been following the stats and I know you thought a 10.1 was coming. And it has come. I'm just going to say it now. With 1 minute 50 to go, final laps, is Verstappen somehow going to do a 1 minute 09? If Max Verstappen does a 1 minute 09, I think undeniable GOAT behaviour. Undeniable. I can see in the Discord chat, in Motorsport, people are loving it as well. Bono is the Guardiola of everyone. Bono is maybe the Arnie Slot is the more appropriate one now. In for Jack saying, yes, Lando. CJ reminded me, I predicted a red flag in the last minute. If you're Lando now, do you run a bit deep somewhere or not? I hope not, because I want to see it go green. But as it stands, Lando's on pole with Piastri second and Charles Leclerc in P3. But they're all doing their final laps now. Verstappen P4, Hamilton P5. I think that's where it's going to be decided for the top of the grid here. Oh my God, Charles Leclerc absolutely battering through the chicane. Like, there is no margin for error here. They must feel so alive, just grazing every barrier. Charles Leclerc goes over the line. I'm going to see what happens here. What's it going to be? The F1 timings are a bit late. Lewis Hamilton goes over P3, but Charles Leclerc is about to. Let's see. Oh my God. Charles Leclerc, 1 minute 10.06. That's unbelievable. Charles Leclerc provisionally fastest, but we've got Verstappen and Piastri still to come. Piastri's going to go over the line pretty soon, and Verstappen can only go P5. No good for Verstappen. Can Charles Leclerc hold out over both of the McLarens? I'm not sure. Piastri says P3. It's only Lando Norris now, as I see it, who can beat Charles Leclerc and break Monegasque's heart. Is it going to be Lando? Yes, it is. 1.9 from Lando. 1 minute 09 from Lando. Lando Norris goes faster. He beats out Charles Leclerc, breaks Ferrari hearts. Very exciting end to qualifying. It was green flag. There was no red flag at the end. And Lando did it on track. And that is for lack of a better word, a Chad move there. Just doing it. Last car over the line, I think. Very exciting qualifying. Lando's dad is happy. He's there, Adam Norris. And Charles Leclerc, I think, really gave it everything. And my pick for pole, Piastri only in P3. There we go. I think CJ's got on screen. Lando Norris, yeah, it's a 1 minute 09, obliterating track record for Lando. So all the Lando fans, super happy about that one. 45% chance of winning the race now. I don't know, pretty soon, I think, CJ, you can pull up championship standings, because I'd be really interested to see, like, Lando Norris, like, if he gets 25 points tomorrow and Piastri's behind Leclerc. There we go. How amazing is this? So if Lando gets 25 points tomorrow and Piastri's stuck behind Charles Leclerc, Lando's going to close up to a couple of points, actually. It's going to be that close. So this is huge in the championship for Lando. Rick saying crazy fast. Captain 9.9, holy hell. Rick, Norris to beat Leclerc. Yeah, I mean, Lando, that lap, obviously you'll see it later on all socials, but that, I think, must have just been an insane lap doing 9.9. And you can have all the credibility. And Lando pulls into the pits. I'm sure there'll be handshakes with the drivers, because it just has to be mad respect for doing that at Monaco. You know, you can't question it. Like, he's destroyed his teammate here. He's beaten Charles Leclerc, who's a demon qualifier at his own track. And he's really setting up the race for McLaren tomorrow, which is incredible. I would say answering some of the critics as well. People saying, okay, Lando's being outshone by Piastri. Piastri goes over and gives him a handshake, which is great to see. And Lando's very reserved. It's kind of like cool, calm Lando. Remember, I almost feel like some people have been writing off Lando for the championship, which is too harsh. Zach Brown celebrates. Lando's dad there as well, which is great to see. And yeah, how many people were calling Lando to get P1 in qualifying? I'm not sure that many. So a bit of a surprise. A bit of a surprise there. Great stuff. And yeah, seeing those driver standings, Lando with a really good chart and puts pressure on Piastri, because Piastri in P3. And now the strategy is going to be super exciting, because what happens if McLaren do a strategy where Piastri undercuts Lando Norris? That's going to be very controversial. And if you're Lando Norris on the radio, I think you're going to be absolutely fuming at that if you get undercut by Oscar Piastri. Absolutely fuming. So it's going to be really difficult for McLaren to manage that. Northern Frederick with a interesting stat in the chat as well. If Lando completes 6 laps in the 2021 Monaco Grand Prix, he will overtake David Coulthard as the driver who has raced the most Grand Prix laps with McLaren in the team's history. I'm telling you, Lando's a really experienced driver now. He's probably in the top 50 most experienced F1 drivers of all time. As weird as that sounds, that is the case. Robert says, Max knew he's gone. Restless nights at Red Bull. I was thinking probably Max was going to pull something out of the bag here, and it just never happened. It just never happened. I'm massively pumped for the race now. Like, I thought Piastri was going to get pole, Lando would be second, it'll be more professional. But I just, now for tomorrow, CJ's pulled out the prediction, so I'll start. I mean, if Charles Leclerc can win tomorrow, it's going to have to be some great Ferrari strategy. But with the 2 stops, can you do an undercut? Can you do a 1-lap undercut? McLaren have not been great on strategy. That's just fair to say. McLaren have not been great on strategy. Ferrari have done some interesting things for Strat this year. They've got lucky, sometimes. Imola, they pulled a terrible qualifying out of the fire with some great strategy. So I'm going to throw it over to you, chat. What are your predictions? Who do you think is going to be on the podium tomorrow? Let me know. Jack was close with the Leclerc pick. Yeah, great strat by Frederick there. I really like that strat because it helps us contextualize everything. We look at David Coulthard, it helps us contextualize that Lando will almost certainly become more. And obviously, David drove for Williams. People don't remember he drove for Williams. He also drove for Red Bull as well. So Lando's been with McLaren since day one. Andy saying Lance Stroll. You never know. That Lance Stroll pit on lap 1 strat could happen. Ferrari has a... No, did Leclerc get 109 as well? Hang on, I need to... are we able to pull that up, CJ? Can I just see the actual the Q3 lap times? If he can do it, CJ will do it because I'd love to see it. Javid, average drivers are good on straight tracks. Takes a special kind for a track like Monaco. Yeah, CJ, if I can get the final times for Q3, I'd love to see whether Leclerc. Okay, so we can't see that, but Captain Howdy's been all across the stats saying that Ferrari got a 109 as well. So you can see, 1/10 off. So Charles Leclerc just 1/10 at Monaco. I mean, yeah. So some disagreement here in the chat whether it's a 109 or 110 for Ferrari, and we'll have to pick that out afterwards. But I'm pretty sure Leclerc did an insane lap there, but wasn't quite able to get it over the line. I don't know, CJ, if we want to do if there's any more quiz questions or a recap we could do, or maybe I can recap the prizes. So, chat, here's what I'm going to do. So, CJ, just can you confirm, are you going to run through the quiz questions again to give people opportunity? Okay, so while I'm so if we could just hold off doing the quiz questions, I'll just explain the prizes and give people time to click the link. Okay, so while I'm talking, okay, it's happening now. CJ's hit the button. Make sure you enter these. For the UK, if you want to get tickets to F1 The Academy premiere on Tuesday, try and answer the questions as best you can. And in the US, you have to answer the questions today and tomorrow. But the US is the price on screen. 2 tickets are still, so 2025. Flights and hotel, and you're going to meet the Red Flags podcast guys. It's going to be great. So, I mean, as a British motorsport fan, you can't get better than that price. So that's amazing. So make sure you enter. And Captain Howdy's saying actually the 10, because of the thousandth of a second, maybe it was a 109. I'm sure that will come out. And just some more information about tomorrow. So tomorrow, the Red Flags podcast guys are going to take care of you in the watch along here in Race Centre Live. 8:30 a.m. Eastern, whatever that means around the world for you as well. I don't know. I can't do the maths. And they're going to finalise that giveaway for the US entries to go to Silverstone. It's continental US only as well. I should bear in mind. So that doesn't include Greenland. Just to make that clear. or Canada. Well, technically Canada would be continental US, so, but we won't get into all of that. It's continental US. And Jack says 1 hour earlier than today. But yeah, chat, I appreciate everyone being on board today. Obviously, it's been exciting, and there's way more people working behind the scenes on this than when I just do it by myself, which is interesting kind of both ways. But basically, there's a lot of people working behind the scenes to make this happen who are passionate about this kind of connected experience. So it's really awesome that we've been able to do it here. the NASCAR thing, I genuinely did not know about. So thank you so much, everyone, for saying you should go to NASCAR because that's going to be crazy, and I cannot wait to create content there. But tomorrow, last quiz question, by the way. How many times has Monaco GP been part of the Formula 1 World Championship? 82, 71, 75, 70. I can't wait to see who's going to win these prizes, by the way. It's going to be insane. And I think that's all from me. So I want to say thank you to everyone for Lolita Camelo, sorry, I mispronounced it, joining us from Indy. Also Ben Hunt from Silverstone. CJ, my producer, who's just been incredible making this happen. Everyone behind the scenes as well, and obviously you as well, chat, in both chat and the mods. Captain Haddy's going to try and tune in for the race tomorrow. I recommend it. I don't know how it's going to go with the 2 pit stops, but it's been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for joining us here, and I will see you next time. I'll see you next time.